All right, let's talk about something huge that's happening in European finance right now. It's this quiet rebellion, really, a bold plan to take on two of the biggest names out there. And it all kicks off with something super simple, something you do almost every day, just buying a coffee.
Seriously, think about it. You tap your card for that morning coffee, right? You see the money go from your account to the coffee shop. Simple. But who's actually in the middle of that? Who are those invisible players making it all happen and, taking a tiny slice of that pie every single time?
Well, you guessed it. Most of the time, that slice is going straight to two American giants, Visa and Mastercard. And that dominance is turning into a massive, multi-billion euro problem for Europe.
Okay, so to really get why this is such a big deal, you have to understand just how huge their control is. This didn't just happen overnight, It's the result of decades of building what's called a network effect. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. The more people use their cards, the more shops have to accept them, and the more shops that accept them, well, the more essential the cards get for everyone. It's this powerful cycle that is just incredibly tough to break into.
So, behind every single card tap, there's a company called a payment service provider, or a PSP. Think of them as the essential middlemen. They handle the whole shebang: security, fraud protection, making sure the store actually gets your money. And yeah, Visa and Mastercard, they're the architects of the biggest payment systems on the planet.
And here's where you really see that network effect in action. Just look at these numbers. According to the European Central Bank, Visa and Mastercard together handle about 2/3 of all card payments in the Eurozone. 2/3. That is an unbelievable amount of power for just two companies based in the US.
So, okay, who cares, right? Why is this a problem? Well, for leaders and businesses across Europe, being this dependent on two foreign companies is starting to look really risky. And those risks are both about money and politics.
Yeah, it really boils down to two big headaches. First, there's the money. All those tiny little transaction fees, they add up. We're talking billions of euros flowing out of the European economy and into the US every single year. But then there's the geopolitical side. Remember when Visa and Mastercard pulled out of Russia? That was a huge wake-up call for Europe. It made them think, wait a minute, what if that power was ever used against us?
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. This is how businesses on the ground feel. For them, especially the small shops with razor-thin margins, these feel like a hitting tax on every single thing they sell. It's the reason why you still find those little cash-only signs in some places, right?
So in response to all this, a pretty powerful group has come together. And they're not just sitting around complaining. No, they're actually building something, a solution, a brand new, truly European payment network.
And look, this isn't just a few random banks. We're talking about an all-star team of national payment champions. These are the apps that people in their own countries already use and love, like Bizium in Spain or Blick in Poland. They're all banding together under one big project called the European Payments Initiative, or EPI for short.
And they are not thinking small. Right out of the gate, this thing is designed for massive scale. The first phase alone is going to cover 130 million people across 13 countries. I mean, that's almost 3/4 of the entire population of the EU and Norway combined. This is definitely not some little side project.
Okay, so how are they going to do it? Well, the plan is ambitious, but they're taking it step by step. First half of 2026, that's all about building the tech, the foundations. Then, by the end of 2026, the goal is to get cross-border payments working. So you could say, send money from Spain to Poland seamlessly. And then comes the big one. By 2027, they want to be in online shops and physical stores, going head-to-head with the big guys right at the checkout.
But let's be real for a second. We've seen big European tech projects kind of fizzle out before. So the big question is, does this one actually have a shot? Can it succeed where others have failed?
Well, there are actually a few really good reasons to be optimistic. For one, they're not starting from zero. They're cleverly linking up all those popular national apps that people already trust. And second, it looks like people actually want this. They quietly switched on the cross-border transfers and, with basically no promotion, people have already sent over 6 million euros. That's a pretty strong signal.
And this chart really puts things into perspective. Look, US dominance in payments is high, no doubt. But the key difference is Europe already has the underlying infrastructure and the scale to build its own thing. That's a totally different ballgame from something like, say, cloud computing, where US companies are even more dominant and Europe is basically starting from scratch. So, it's all looking pretty good, right? You've got a strong team, a solid plan, and customers who seem ready. But
there's one really big but. A huge and kind of ironic roadblock that could be just around the corner.
What if the biggest threat to Europe's plan for independence is, well, another European plan for independence?
Yeah, at the exact same time all this is happening, the European Central Bank is working on its own massive project, a digital euro. The easiest way to think about it is like digital cash. It would let you pay someone directly, person to person, with absolutely no middlemen. No Visa, no Mastercard, and maybe, just maybe, no need for this new EPI network either. This could change everything.
And that's where we're left, with this really fascinating question. You've got this race to build Europe's payment future, and there are two giant homegrown projects on the track. So, will this new payment network get big enough, fast enough, before the digital euro potentially makes it irrelevant? Or maybe they could exist together, one for everyday payments and one for big business stuff. Or will one plan for independence end up accidentally tripping up the other? It is a huge battle for the future of Europe's wallet. And honestly, right now, the outcome is anyone's guess.